Start a little great. Yep. Okay, perfect. So we're gonna go ahead and get started because we have a very short time. So welcome to the Housing and Residence Life breakout room of this call, also known as Home at AU. This is going to be us presenting on how we approach creating a support system for you, both with our staff, but also the environment around you. Next slide, please. So your speakers for tonight are Desi. She is a assistant director of housing assignments. She's been the lovely person that's been helping you all get your time slots, help you get into the rooms that you want. If you had an issue with any of that, you've probably spoken with her over the phone or via email. You have myself, Shamira James. I'm the marketing and communications coordinator. I've been crafting all of the lovely emails that send to you all daily just to help you stay reminded of what part we are in the process. You have Brian McCullum here, who is a community director of East Campus. That does house our upper division students. So unfortunately, no one on this call will live with him, but I'm sure you will see him around and he's a delight. So always make sure to say hi. And we have Martin Sagendorf, who is a friend of the office, and he is very well qualified to answer questions as well. Next slide, please. So this is our kind of agenda of how we're going to guide this presentation. I'm not going to read it to you all. Just take like a quick mental snapshot so you kind of understand the things we're going to talk about, but also, you know, if your question doesn't fall in line with these, kind of keep your question in the back of your mind. Next slide, please. So your community, this is going to be who is in your community. Shocker, it's not just you. There's also people that are staff to kind of help you within your space. We're going to talk about how you grow in your community, but also where your community really is. Next slide, and I will pass it over to Brian.
Great. So my name is Brian McCullum. I am a community director here at American University. Community directors, there are 9 of us on campus. We are full-time live-in staff who perform a lot of risk management and facilities responsibilities, but also primarily are here to support students both in their transition to the university and to make sure that they are successful in their living environment and beyond in the time that they are here with us. I think it's important to note, I'm currently not, I will not for the fall be with first year students, but I was the community director for Anderson Hall, which is our largest first year building for the last 2 years. So I'm very familiar with first year housing. Our first year accommodations are outstanding, as well as the staff for that area. So you certainly have a lot of resources when you are with us. That includes your resident assistants or resident advisors, who are students that are placed on every single floor to live and support the residents there. And you will get to know those RAs once you have moved in with us. Next. So yeah, you know, we take a lot of pride in our residential community. We think that residential students have the best experience and are able to get plugged into campus a lot easier than students who live in other parts of the city. So we are planning a ton of on-campus events, both that our office is doing in the halls, and there will be obviously a lot of events and student organizations and everything else to take part of in the beginning of the year. But you will have a more formal orientation that's been talked about later on. But as far as what Housing and Residence Life provides, we do have a ton of involvement opportunities in the halls. And I would encourage you, when you do come, to connect with your RA. And you can even connect with your community director via email or stop by their office to get plugged in to campus / get support on anything that that you may need.
Perfect. So next we're going to talk about where your community is. So as you would think, your community is going to be where you live. It's where you spend the most time is going to be in your res halls. And so when we think about how your community develops around you, this is not only about how we prepare your space for move-in, but it's also how you take care of your space after that. So at the top here, you see 3 lovely rooms. These students use their rooms to participate in a Best Nest contest, which was a dorm decorating contest. They got to show off their spaces. They got to win some really cool prizes. But that was just one way that I encourage students to take pride in their space and really just, you know, kind of really own the space they live in. You're going to spend a lot of your time in your res halls. And so we think you should make the most of it. And while we're doing all this, you know, spending all this time this summer to clean and prep and renovate all these halls, when you come in, we want you to really claim the space as your own. But there's a caveat to that in saying the main team that works really hard in the halls is our facilities teams, and they work hard every single day, and they only have 2 requests from you all. And that is, 1, the furniture that is in the room when you move in needs to stay in, and the furniture that is not in your room when you move in needs to stay out. That is the only rooms about respecting your space and how you will thrive in your spaces if you just follow those 2 simple rules. Next slide, please.
All right, I will jump in. So to Shamira's point a moment ago, we know folks are excited about, thinking about what their home's going to look like on campus, how they're going to make it their own. So as part of that, there are a number of items that we provide or we provide an assistance with some vendors for you. So let's run through those. So first up is a micro fridge. So that's what we see on the left of the screen. So that's a refrigerator, a freezer, and a microwave combination. If you are interested in that, we'll talk more about how to rent it in a moment. There's also an option for a lockbox, a digital lockbox. So that's something else we have a vendor that provides. Third item there on the right side of the page is what we call a bed loft. So all of the beds are adjustable as they come kind of as a default, and that's in the picture here. It's that wooden section at the top. That's kind of the standard piece that comes with the bed, just obviously lower down. And that is adjustable within I think there's about 6 different heights that you can adjust it within that wooden frame. However, if you're interested in a bed loft, which is what we see pictured here to make more space in your room, potentially, move your desk underneath it, this is something that you can request through us. So for all of these items that I've just talked about, we are encouraging people to make their submissions by August 1st. And why is August 1st important? The reason for that is we want you to submit August 1st so that we can have it in your room by the time you arrive in August at the end. So it's really easy to do this, probably only takes a few minutes. So students, you just go to your AU housing portal. That's where you selected your housing. It's where you see your time slots for move-in. Everything that's important housing related is there. And there's also a section there where you can personalize your room. And all of these are linked from there. So there is I'll acknowledge there's a cost with all of these. We think it's pretty affordable. All of that information is on there. I know we usually get a question about, hey, can I bring my own fridge or microwave? And I'll answer that one now. So you can bring your own mini fridge. There are restrictions on the size for that. I believe it's 4.7 cubic feet. But we have a web page on a page on our website that's called "What Can I Bring? What Can't I Bring?" It's listed there with the specifications. As for a microwave, you cannot bring your own microwave for your room unless it's the one rented attached to the fridge that we show here. However, there are community kitchens on all of the floors in all of our buildings, so you also have that as a resource if a microwave is something you want but don't want to rent that. And we always encourage, if you haven't had a good conversation, start with your roommate yet. This is a really good one. Hey, what should I, are you renting a fridge? Should I rent one? You want to rent one together? All of that. These are great conversation starters. The last item I will mention, because we get a few questions about it, is XL beds. So I'm 6'3". I did not have an XL bed when I was in college, and it was totally fine because, as I mentioned, you can adjust the standard bed up so your feet kind of hang over. That's what I did. However, if you're taller and that's something you're interested in, there is a request process for that. You will have to show documentation of your height, and those are limited. So they generally speaking go to the tallest students. But again, even if you're someone like myself, 6'3", who might not get the XL bed, not a big deal. And all of that is also live for you to request in the housing portal as well. So we can go to the next slide.
All right, so I'm here to talk a little bit about the roommate situation. DC is a very popular place to live, and we don't have a giant campus. And so to be able to provide housing to as many students as possible, we do have almost all of the students that live with us have a roommate. And that can be a unique experience for folks. And so we just wanted to have a little bit of time to talk about that. All right, so I think some things to keep in mind, and I have been here for 2 years and seen a lot of different roommate conflicts. The vast majority of students get along with their roommate very well, make some minor adjustments here and there. But there are students who may have some more issues, and so we have a lot of support here on campus through your RA and through the professional community directors who are also living on campus to help students work through some issues. I think it's really important to have that communication with the person that you're going to be living with. They're also probably nervous and trying to get everything together here over the summer, but I would definitely try to take some time to reach out to them. If you don't before you get here, obviously you can meet them once you move in. And I would just say it's really important to take time to understand each other's schedules. If there are any things that you sense may be different in living arrangements, lifestyle, things like that, to try to reach common ground and find compromises if there are issues. We have all of our students sign roommate agreements at the beginning of the semester. So that is one way that we help mitigate issues. Obviously, even after people have made some agreement, there also can be issues later on. And again, we have student staff and professional staff here to help you resolve any issues if you have it. But of course, we don't anticipate that. I think everyone will have a great time this year.
And we all are so excited and looking forward to seeing all of you on campus in less than 2 months during our move-in. That's the greatest event of the year. Last week, we sent out the email notifications about the pre-assigned moving dates and times. Please make sure you log into the housing portal and check your moving date and time if you haven't done yet. The time slots are available under the Move to AU section on the housing portal. Now let's have a quick look at the moving calendar. The assisted moving dates for first-year students are August 22nd and August 23rd. So all of you should have received pre-assigned time slot on one of these 2 dates based on your community preference and the residence halls you'll be living in. As you can see, if you're part of a living and learning community, like university, college, CBRS, honors, 3-year scholars, or if you will be living in McDowell Hall, you'll be moving on August 22nd. Students who are not part of any living and learning community will be moving on to August 23rd. If the pre-assigned time slot does not work for you, you can just easily reschedule your moving date to or time. It can be either on the different time on the same day, or you can opt in early arrival or late arrival on our housing portal. Our early arrival dates are August 20th and 21st. Please be aware these are unassisted moving dates. And as you noticed, students participating in Explore DC program will be moving on August 21st too. Rescheduling the moving time slot is easy. You can do it in less than a minute on the Move to AU section on the housing portal. However, if you have any issues, please do not hesitate to reach us out and we will be glad to help. On your moving day, please try to arrive as close as possible to your assigned time slot, but don't get panicked if you're running a little bit late or if you arrive a little bit earlier. Our team will meet you, grab your items and start taking them to the hall. In the meantime, you'll park your car and you will follow the instructions, how to check in. We're going to share these instructions and what's coming next later in the summer. So please make sure, just a friendly reminder to start checking your AU emails if you haven't done it yet. The next one.
All right. So we've pretty much reached our wrap-up point where we'll start going through questions. So a couple comments from me before we get to the questions, but feel free to start just dropping them in the chat. I know it's the end of the night, we're all a little tired, but if there's something that's burning, definitely ask it. We're glad to answer it. The main parts we just want to stress to folks here as we wrap up are students checking your AU email is really important throughout the summer, not just for housing updates, but for all things American University. We will be sending you regular communications throughout the summer leading up to move-in. And those communications will be tiered in the sense that we'll kind of get you the most detailed information a couple days before you arrive about here's which gate to enter on campus when you arrive. And earlier than that, we'll be talking about here's what you should be doing to get ready, you know, what you need to be packing, all the rest of that. So checking your email is really important. You know, parent and family, if you want to receive some of those updates, we will occasionally send some of them to you as well. However, students need to have given us your email in their housing application. If they didn't do that or we're not sure, just go back to the housing application portal. They can update that at any time. We also have a great dedicated webpage with lots of move-in specific information. We also have a really great webpage about all things. So for instance, if you want to see virtual tours of any of our buildings, which include bathrooms, laundry rooms, kitchens, everything you want to see, those are all on the given pages as well. And then last but not least is follow us on social media. We have really great engagement on there, and that's something we want to connect with you on, and it's a really easy way for you to stay in touch with us. It's @home@AU. We'll have that on the next slide, which we can jump to now. So again, these are the ways to stay in contact with us. Email us, give us a phone call, our social media accounts. If you happen to be in DC, you can stop by the first floor of Anderson Hall during business hours. We're there. And then I will also mention, because this came up earlier, is that we do have our live chat with our staff every afternoon as well, and that's available from the homepage of our website. So again, lots of ways to stay in contact. We want to hear from you. We want to be connected, and we'll be reaching out as well. So we are limited on our time. I see questions are coming in, so we'll just start jumping into these. We're going to try to answer them as fast as we can. If we don't get to you, just reach out. Lots of options. So Rebecca, I know you had some questions about connecting with a roommate in advance who hasn't been responding to you. Brian, I don't know if you have any suggestions on that from the community director side.
Sure. I would say to continue to reach out. Obviously, it's not, I think on the specific issue of the micro fridge, both roommates can rent a micro fridge. And so if that is something that you absolutely know that you want a micro fridge and you haven't heard back from them, you can just go ahead and rent one yourself. I would say maybe give them a little bit more time to get engaged with the process. Some students over the summer are not as engaged. But yes, you can have your own, and there would be space for you to have your own in your space. I'm not totally sure what this question means from Diana, but you say local hotels and stores to buy items. There is a Target very close to campus. And there are obviously a lot of other stores in the district. There are many hotels. Most of the hotels are not in walking distance to campus, but they're very close, accessible by public transit, Uber, and of course driving if you have parked your car. There is not a university hotel to my knowledge.
Correct.
So there is not one directly on campus.
Yeah, and I guess since it doesn't look like any questions are pouring in at the moment, I will expand a little bit on what Desi mentioned earlier about move-in. So if you haven't heard about the assisted move-in on the 22nd and 23rd for folks who are moving in those days, basically the way it's going to work is you're going to enter campus. We will guide you how to do that and where to go. At a certain point, we will unload items from your car while you're parking your car and the student is checking in at a central location on campus. And then we will give you a time frame when, hey, the things are now in your room. And then you just return to your room, unpack, have a great day. And I always ask this question has anyone been in DC in August? And if you have, it's disgusting. It's humid, it's nasty. I live here. I don't mind it that much, but it's not when you want to be unpacking your car. So this is a really great thing that we have offered to everybody. We really encourage, unless there's a strong reason not to, for instance, you're in Explore DC, or for some reason you need to come earlier than that you come on the 20th or 21st. Because again, this is, it's a special occasion and all of campus will be there to welcome you. We have volunteers, we have professional movers, we have a really great team. So definitely look out for that. Let's see, I see some questions about, can all buildings have beds lifted? Yes, for the first year halls, I believe. Let me know, rest of my team, if I'm wrong here.
Yes.
Okay, I'm seeing thumbs up.
All the buildings can have lofted beds. I have seen a question or two about if you don't have a car.
Yeah.
Shamira addressed that question. There's an extensive ride share industry in DC. That's not ideal, but it is probably the best option, because the less ideal thing would be public transit. You wouldn't believe what people are able to bring on the metro, but if you want to avoid some headache there, the ride share system would probably be the best bet.
Yeah, Desi list buildings that are not loftable for the future, but those are not first year buildings. So yeah, great questions.
That's good.
There was a question about if someone moves in on the 23rd, would it be okay to move in on the 22nd?
Yeah, I can I can jump. I think if I'm understanding correctly, is I have a 23rd time slot. Can I come on the 22nd is how I'm reading that.
Yes.
So there
yes.
are some limitations based on certain buildings are not eligible to move in on the 22nd. And really the reason for this is we have, about 1,800, 2,000 first year students moving in on those 2 days. We really need to keep a balance because this is a city, traffic is complicated, and we have a really great system when the days are balanced. So generally speaking, we will encourage you to stay on the day that we assigned you in advance. However, if you cannot, you can take a look at the housing portal and see if there's a time slot available on the day you want. If there is, you can select it. If there's not, then we've reached our capacity for that day. In which case, the 20th and 21st are early move-in days are available. And there is also an option to come after hours on the 22nd and 23rd. That I think it's after 6 or 7 p.m. We have time slots there as well. That would again be unassisted, but those are options as well. But again, we really have to balance that experience of traffic, so we give everyone a really smooth welcome to campus, and it runs really well. It's one of the best move-ins I've been involved with. So we're at the 2-minute mark. Are there any other final questions?
Don't be shy, you guys. This chat is so much more like, it's less, not aggressive, but it's just less than the last session. This is very surprising.
We
Don't
had
be
a
shy.
flood.
Ask questions.
And of course, remember, if you can't think of things right now, we do have a lot of options to contact us if you think of things tomorrow or in the week to come.
Yes. Email, phone, chat, social media, any of the above. It is thundering outside, something crazy, and I'm sitting right in front of a window and I'm very terrified. I'm gonna get shocked.
You're flat on the quad. But yeah, so I think, if there aren't any other immediate questions, we can just give people some time back because you need it. You've been on screen a lot. So feel free to jump off. I think, am I right that we're done, Mary?
Yes, well, we're coming to the end, but there is now a couple questions. Rebecca says, can I choose how high I get my bed lofted? Yes, there's a limit, but you can choose if you want to do a more extreme loft, you can. But there's a few different heights you can have it placed at.
I'm pasting a link for the sheets questions. You can use this link to look at different bedding sets. See how if we can get through all of these. If we get in 11 days.
And there will be students moving in every day of the move-in process from the 20th forward to Olivia asking about will other students be in the halls. There will be, and there will also be our student staff living on every floor of the building as well by time any student is moving into the building. So it will be quieter in the beginning, but by the time we hit the 22nd and 23rd, the halls will be filling up really quick.
Yes.
Yes, to the question of, yes, you can request whatever day anytime a time slot is available that works for you, you can select it. Again, we just encourage the 22nd and 23rd for that experiential piece, but we know it doesn't work for everybody for a variety of reasons. You know what's best for you and your family, so please choose accordingly. And if there's concerns with what's available, you can always reach out to us, but we do have some limitations on certain days, just again, to give that experience that we talked about earlier. But yeah, by all means, select what's best for you. You're very welcome.
The rooms have what are those horizontal blinds? Yeah, they have horizontal blinds. I don't know too much about the shade, like if there's a res life, like kind of like restrictions on that. But
I've never seen,
have things.
well, I shouldn't say that.
You can put things in the windows though. People have Nicki Minaj flags, people have Gibby flags from iCarly, so you can hang things in the window. Just, try and keep it appropriate, copacetic, and we'll be fine.
Typically the blinds work well, but depending on how you hang the curtains, you could have that.
Yeah.
There is
That's
AC.
no holes in the walls is your best option.
There is AC, yes. Well, a unit, AC unit. I know that's a different thing up north, but there is air conditioning and heat. Of course. All right, y'all, we just have 1 minute before they close out, but please remember, if you have any other questions, we are reachable at the contact information that's been dropped in the chat.
Yes.
Bye.